Hi there, this is video 7, which covers pages 9 and 10 in your notes. Now you will notice that there are some columns that have been hidden in this particular spreadsheet. For example, you can see the column lettering goes from A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, and then jumps to S. This indicates that there's columns that are hidden between columns M and S. Select columns M and S, right-click and choose Unhide, and any columns hidden between those two columns will be unhidden. And so now I can see there's a column NOPQR. Now what I'd like to do is use the search function. And I'm going to apply this to column Q. I want to improve the appearance of column Q. In column Q, I'm wanting to know if an employee is in management or not. Now I could just use the find and replace, but I want to approach this in a different way so I can show you how you can use the search function and the if function and the isNumber function. So instead of just find and replace, I'm going to click on Q2, press Control Shift down arrow, and that selects to the bottom of the list, and then press the delete key. And that selects all the data from Q2 to Q201. Then I'll press up arrow to go back to management and down arrow to go back to Q2. Now the search function searches to see if there's text inside of a cell. And if there is certain text inside of a cell, then it will return a number. And so I want to say if the result of a search function is a number, then we need to say that person is in management. Okay, let's have a look. So equals I. Let's go for an if function. Then we're going to go for is num. If it is a number. If what is a number? If the search of the word manager, in double quotes, when it looks at M2, close the search, close the isNumber. So my test is search M2. Let me just scroll a little bit over this way. I'm saying search M2 and look for the word manager. So like we can see general manager, consents manager, property manager. The search function will look at M2 and it will search for the function manager. Now if it searches for the word manager and it finds it, it'll return a number. So then I'm saying if it is a number when you search for that, comma, then show double quote manager. Or let's make that better, management, because they may not be a manager as such, they might be a CEO. Double quote, comma, otherwise show double quote non-management, double quote, close bracket. So we're combining three functions there. We're searching if the word manager exists in M2. And if it does, and it is a number, then we want to show the word management. Otherwise, we want to show the word non-management. So I'm going to press enter. So this particular person, Abby, who is in drainage, is not a manager. If I then double click the thin black cross and fill it down, when we come to say this person, they are a general manager, so we've written management. This person is not, the consents manager is. So you can combine those particular functions, and I'm just going to double click to auto fit column Q. Now I want to show you an if function with an OR function. And I'm going to do this in column M. And I'll just scroll a little bit this way so you can see more clearly. I'm just going to first of all insert a column, Control plus. I'm going to name that column hired underscore quarters. Double click to widen it. Using other functions, we establish the year they were hired. That was the year function. We established the month they were hired. That was the text function. Now I want to show the quarter, the financial year quarter they were hired. Were they hired in financial year quarter 1, 2, 3, or 4? Now for this particular company, their first quarter starts in June. So June, July, and August are quarter 1. September, October, and November are quarter 2. December, January, February are quarter 3. And March, April, May are quarter 4. So I need to write a function that shows that. So I'm going to use my if function. Let me just zoom in a little bit and scroll across and just make this as clear for you to see. And I'll widen it as well. Okay, so let's go across here. Equals I, tab. If L2, now, backspace, or, if or is a function, tab. L2 equals June. So if L2 equals June, comma, or L2 equals July, comma, or L2 equals August. Close the or. That's my test. My test is if L2 is June, or L2 is July, or L2 is August. If it's any of those three, comma, then it is that correct? Yes, it is. Double quote, QRT 1, quarter 1, comma. I feel like something's missing. Why I feel like something's missing is because it's not moving me on to true or false. So that's your visual cue. Can you see what I've done wrong? I can see what I've done wrong. Can you see what I've done wrong? I'll give you a second. What is wrong with that? What is inconsistent with that? Look around, look at August, look at July, and then look at June. I missed the double quote on the end of June. Chuck that in there. Right, so then when I go to quarter 1, it says that's what you want to happen if it's true. Now that didn't come up, and so that was making me think something's not right. So if it's false, so if L2 is June, or L2 is July, or L2 is August, if that's true, then that's quarter 1. If it's not, do another if. I tab, O, R, tab. What's your second test? Second test is if L2 equals, double quote, September, double quote, or L2 equals October, double quote, or L2 equals November. Not Movember, November. Double quote, close bracket. That's my second test. See how that's highlighted? Test, that means I'm on the right track. So if L2 is September, or L2 is October, or L2 is November, comma, if that's true, then double quote, QRT2. That's the second quarter. Double quote. So double quotes always go around text. Comma, I, tab, if, O, R, or L2 equals, double quote, December, or L2 equals, double quote, January, or L2 equals, double quote, February, double quote, close bracket, comma, double quote, QRT3, third quarter. Right, let's do the final quarter. Wow. If it's June or July or August, it's the first quarter. If it's September, October, or November, it's the second quarter. If it's December, January, February, it's the third quarter. Otherwise, I guess it's the fourth quarter. So let's just put, otherwise it's QRTR4. But I'm worried about whether they have a blank. So maybe we should, because if there's a blank in there, it's going to say it's the fourth quarter, which isn't strictly true. No, so I'm going to be pedantic. If OR L2 equals March, comma, L2 equals April, L2 equals May, close the OR, comma, then that is the fourth quarter. Otherwise, show nothing, because it means that we don't have a date hired, which means that we don't have a month, which means that we can't work out the quarter. So show nothing, double quote, if there isn't a month in column L. Now I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 ifs, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is when you cross your fingers and hope that it goes well, press enter. So because this person was hired in the month of June, which is actually the beginning of their financial year, they fall into the first quarter. I'm going to click on quarter 1, double click the thin black cross to fill it down, double click the line between M and N to auto fit the column width, and you can see this person was hired in the fourth quarter, this person was hired in the third quarter. So you can create your own if statements, very powerful if statements, and you can nest. We did 4 nests of if statements there, you can nest up to 64. But I do want to show you another function, actually another 2 functions. I want to show you a date diff function and a today function. I'm going to first of all insert a column where column G is. Control plus, click on G, Control plus, and I really want to show their age. So I'm going to put the column heading age, and I want to calculate their age based on their date of birth. Now, when you compare their date of birth with today's date, then you turn that into years. That tells you how old they are. So to compare their date of birth in F2 with today, I'm going to use the today function, and I'm going to use a date diff because I want to know the difference between those 2 dates. So in G2 we go equals DATE, and we actually type date diff. It's one of the few functions that doesn't actually appear in the list. So that's freaky doodles, because it means that all the functions aren't necessarily listed. Keeps me in a job. Open bracket, date diff. Now I want the difference between their birth date in F2, comma, and today. So there's a function called today. There it is there. Open bracket, close bracket. This is going to give me the difference between their birth date and today, but it's going to give it to me in days. I want the difference in years. So I go comma, double quote, Y, double quote. If I wanted the difference between those 2 dates in months, I'd type M. Days would be the default, and Y is I'm asking for here. Close the bracket, press enter. Unfortunately, again, because I'm sitting next door to a date, it thinks it's been helpful and it's formatted as a date, and I can see that when I go to the Home tab, it's showing date here. Just change date format to general, which is no specific format, and you'll get their age as a number. So there's nothing wrong with your function, it's just that there's a format, a date format sitting on that column. So I'm going to double click, fill it down. That calculates the age of each person, and I'm going to double click the line between G and H to auto fit the column, and that's an example of how you can calculate someone's age. So we've looked at quite a lot of functions that work on a row by row basis. Year, month, text, if, search, date diff, today, a whole lot of functions. I do hope you're finding this helpful. Now practice what you've learnt, absorb what we've covered, and I'll see you in the next video.